Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Just woke up. I'm in like that kind of in-between weird period, and I know I'd probably got maybe even too much sleep. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. It says Bitcoin is dancing around 15,500 US dollars amid a recovery mission from the key support highlighted by the 50 simple moving average. Stability and calm have also returned to the market in the wake of the weekend. The flagship cryptocurrency is mainly in the bulls' hands amid the push to nurture the uptrend to new yearly highs. Last week, Bitcoin rallied to, this is way too high, rallied to levels close to $16,000, where a newly high was achieved at $15,980. A correction came in the picture, but Bitcoin found a balance around $14,500, averting potential declines to levels below, I guess that's supposed to be $15,500. The point is, the Bitcoin market has recovered from the weekend. There was a very strong sell-off that lasted for about a good 6 hours, but then we started moving back up again. A lot of people began to panic. Me and my friends were having discussions about this as to where the price was going to go. I think this was on Saturday. It was really funny. As opposed to looking at the news, we were looking at Bitcoin's price, just trying to figure out where things would go, if it would continue falling. But I just assumed it was kind of a sell the news kind of event. A lot of people were expecting whatever outcome, and then therefore the price would move in a certain direction. Price began to drop. I feel heavily that it was probably just a couple of whales who were trying to sell off to get other people to sell off, because what ends up happening is people start selling off in a panic, and then they can accumulate extra Bitcoin at a much lower price, which I'm pretty sure a couple of corporations, organizations, institutions probably definitely did over the course of the weekend. There's a lot of news about quick movements, imminent movements, where things are going to go. Because I think that's just simply where we are in the market at the moment. Binance just released its latest trading report, analyzing the state of Bitcoin, Ether, and the altcoin markets. The report highlighted Bitcoin's dominance in October and early November, which burst the decentralized finance bubble and pushed the price of many crypto assets much lower. They said large cap cryptocurrencies such as Ether, XRP, Bcash, Litecoin, and Chainlink delivered modest gains in October, but have failed to break new highs as trading activity shifted away to Bitcoin. For many months, altcoins had been the key driver of returns for crypto traders. They said, thus, it is no surprise that altcoins have appeared to be losing steam and disharmonized from Bitcoin's rally since the correction in early September. Most DeFi tokens have displayed a complete turnaround, erasing 70 to 90% of their gains. Analysts at Binance are now expecting Bitcoin to enter a cool-down period after its sudden burst to 16,000 US dollars. They expect it'll be like remember when we had the consolidation phase between 10 to 12,000, not that it's going to drop to 10 to 12,000, but that phase where we were kind of trending upwardly sideways for about a good month and some change. They said they may think that this could be also the next point for Bitcoin, that we could just be kind of drifting sidewaysly upwards for a while. As for the future of the altcoin market, Binance pointed to the coming launch of Ethereum 2.0 as a potential catalyst for both Ether and the altcoin markets at large. They said the upgrade is expected to have a positive impact on Ether, as it will significantly boost the network's compatibility, scalability, and security. I don't know how to... It's not that I'm trying to get away from Ether news, but it's really all over the place at the moment. A lot of people, including myself, I'm excited for the actual upgrade, but as far as where the price is going to go, no one knows. But the price predictions for this thing are getting absolutely out of hand. A lot of people are believing, and I said this before as well, I think that if we have an actual catalyst, because when Bitcoin appears to be going up in price or is going up in price, many other coins aren't riding the wave as much as they used to a couple of years ago. Historically, whenever we saw, Bitcoin's been around for like 11, 12 years. Whenever we've seen before that Bitcoin has risen up rapidly, altcoins usually tend to follow. This has not happened. There are still many coins who are at the same exact price or slightly lower than where they were around January. But Bitcoin has done pretty well for itself. However, when Ethereum moves up, altcoins tend to kind of follow this same trendy pattern, and I'm not sure if it's because a lot of the other altcoins are either Ethereum rivals, and therefore they're trying to mimic and do the exact same thing, or there are just so many coins on top of Ethereum that if Ethereum gets a boost in some sort of way in price, that the other coins also rise up as well in a like, hey, we're built on top of you. If you're doing well, we also do kind of well, symbiotic kind of relationship type of thing. Yeah. So we are, of course, we've seen the last 3 weeks, the news that we've been getting consistently has been that the market's doing well. The market's going to continue doing well. And now we are at the let's wait for Ethereum 2.0 just to see exactly how great the market will be or become or will surge. All that kind of thing. As well, says analysts eye doubling of Ethereum prices when staking takes off. That's basically a given. I'm assuming that there's going to be a sell the news kind of day where people who really don't understand how insane this is actually going to be are going to sell off their coins, are going to try and coerce other people to sell off their coins. The price will dip 4, 5, 8, 9, 12%. Who knows exactly how much? And then from there, we're going to start seeing the price of Ethereum rising even further. That dip may or may not happen. I'm leaning more towards the side of the cryptocurrency market tends to be a place where even when a price drop is not required, there's still some type of a price drop. Who knows who's causing it behind the scenes, whatever the case might actually be. But when we start getting more news of exactly how much Ethereum is locked away inside of this protocol, and we start getting news, I think any foray into the traditional financial world on television will help this spike as well. We've heard many times on CNBC, ABC, blah, 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 where they talk about, they have the little like news segment where they talk about money and they talk about Bitcoin and how great it's going to be. We've seen like upticks in price. But I think the major news would be if they start talking about Ethereum and if they go into the fact that all you have to do is hold Ether to make a passive income, what was it, 8 to 12% on your money? That's going to be a major catalyst as well for people wanting to get into the market, because everybody wants to make money for doing nothing. That's kind of the actual dream all the time, not even just for now. It says Bitcoin price long overdue for an astounding rise to 100,000. Yeah, that's all the price news, I guess, right now. I don't even have to read this one. You can. It's the guy from. Is it Plan B? Yeah, Plan B. I was thinking the actual. Isn't there a pill called Plan B? And I was like, that's not what his name is. Anyway, he's talking about that Bitcoin is, of course, going to go higher as his chart showing Bitcoin's price is active, on the move. He's been correct for quite a long amount of time. Even when we were hovering around 9,000, he was like, no, like we're going to start moving up. And here we are near 16,000. He says by next year, Bitcoin's price will be anywhere between 100K to 288,000 US dollars per coin. I know that sounds insane, but we've seen it happen before in the past with a 20x rise, etc., etc. He says 100K is his low. Like that is, he thinks it'll hit 100K and then, definitely move up higher from there. We'll see. If we end up having a $250,000 Bitcoin by next year, I don't know what I don't know how I would mentally react because I've been telling a lot of my friends who've gotten into the cryptocurrency space that the number everyone's really eyeing is 50,000. We're waiting for that $1 trillion market cap to hit Bitcoin, and everyone's like, wow, you did it. I think it would blow people's minds if we, instead of just getting to 50,000, like 6-7 months after we hit a quarter, $288,000 is an astronomical amount of money. I do think we will eventually hit that in Bitcoin's price, but happening next year, I think that would be too good. Like I'm not a pessimist. I try to be realistic as possible when I can. But I like, you ever like, imagine like on your birthday, you're like, oh yeah, I just want, give me $100. And someone gives you like a Maserati. You're like, what's wrong? Like, why are things going so well? Anyway, everyone's optimistic for the cryptocurrency market, where it's going to go, etc., what have you. And now let's move on. In popular news, GRIN, a privacy-focused cryptocurrency built on the Mimblewimble protocol, has suffered a 51% attack. According to a 7th of November tweet from crypto mining group 2 Miners with the number 2, an unknown group accumulated 57% of the total hash power of GRIN's network on Saturday evening. 2 Miners only had control of 19%, while Sparkpool had 18.9%. They said GRIN network is under 51% attack. Payouts are stopped, Please mine at your own risk. New blocks could be rejected. Data from GRIN scan shows that attackers were able to reorganize at least one forked block. The unknown mining group has also increased its control since Saturday. They now command 58% of the hash rate of the network. It's important to say that just because that a company organization has over 50% of the mining hash rate power does not mean that they're going to do something negative necessarily. However, this one, whoever has control over it, they are attacking the network. This happens all the time. The price of GRIN, I think, at the moment hasn't really slipped by down that much. I don't think many people even know what GRIN is. Nonetheless, Mimble maybe only because we spoke about it before when it comes to Litecoin. And more so, people have no idea what Beam is either at this point. I know a lot of you are scratching your heads like, I don't know what that coin is. And I mean, it's more like an exactly. GRIN was created as a brand new Bitcoin. Surprise! Many coins always are created as a brand new Bitcoin, but the idea of GRIN was to be released by a Satoshi Nakamoto-like figure, and that no one would know who he was. And I think his name was basically like Voldemort scrambled up or something like that. But I think in French. Anyway, the point is, yes. The network is apparently currently under attack. I do not assume this will have any real effect simply because I think a lot of people have no idea what a 51% attack is. I don't think they care what a 51% attack is because they are only looking at it from a monetary aspect. If people really understood things happening within the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin would be over $1 million right now, and we'd have mass worldwide adoption, especially if you've been looking at the news. Was it Turkey over the weekend? I think one of their ministers or something like that stepped down, and I think their currency has inflated by like 48% or something like that. So if people really understood the power of, good coins and the adoption of them, we'd have a whole different market instead of people trying to pump and dump stuff. But basically also meaning, remember earlier this year we had a lot of other coins that were also 51% attacked, and I was like, well, that's clearly the end of them. And then the price rose that day. It's like, oh, okay, people really just don't understand exactly what that means. Anyway, yeah, so GRIN has been attacked. It's currently being attacked. And without further ado, let's move on. I'm so tired. It's so weird. The Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is outperforming gold ETFs or exchange-traded funds. A trend perhaps driven by institutional investors, like family offices, and this is according to a report by JP Morgan Chase. They said this contract lends support to the idea that some investors that previously invested in gold ETFs, such as family offices, may be looking at Bitcoin as an alternative to gold. The climb of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust indicates that it's not just millennials driving demand for Bitcoin, but institutional investors like family offices and asset managers, the analyst said. Grayscale is part of the digital currency group, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, rich people are buying up Bitcoin. No one should be surprised. Like, no one. No one even remotely should be surprised. I am certain. I do not know all the rich families in the world. I have not spoken to them. I have not had tea with them. But I can probably assume that at least a good 70 to 80% of them own Bitcoin in some sort of way or have exposure to it in some form or fashion. It's just completely logical at this point. I assume a lot of them have been accumulating for a very long time. A lot of people don't understand where these trends come from and why prices actually end up going up. I think nearly all of the market at this point probably has to do with very rich people who have been accumulating and are accumulating. And when you get news at the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ and what was the other corporation who had been, I think Fidelity, who had been buying Bitcoin since 2014, odds are they were telling their clients, hey, we know this new thing that's going to perform very well. Think of Bitcoin's price in 2014. What was it, like $200? Now imagine telling your clients you should do a portfolio allocation of 0.5%, not even a full 1% into this thing. It's a couple million, just throw it into it. And it goes from $200 to $20,000 for the thing that they purchased, a couple $1 million for. They're probably going to continue buying. It's just complete logic at this point. What I don't want to say feared, but I assumed would happen many years ago is that rich people would gain control of the market, not in a manipulation sense, but they'd be the ones to buy up all the Bitcoin before the people who would actually benefit from it had a chance to start buying themselves. Of course, these rich people are buying up Bitcoin. It's just complete logic at this point. So this is the report from JP Morgan. I like when JP Morgan releases reports like this because it clearly shows that they knows where the trends are going. And I always assume myself that these things are kind of like, what's it called? Like a hat tip towards other people who want to know, and they're therefore letting them know. It's kind of the rich telling the rich, hey, this is something that you should be getting into. That's from JP Morgan, and tying nearly directly into that as well. Veteran investor Bill Miller says that all major banks, investment banks, and high net worth firms will eventually have some exposure to Bitcoin. Wow, surprise. He said that Bitcoin's staying power is getting better every day. A growing number of major corporations have been gaining exposure to Bitcoin, prompting speculation on when the rest of them will follow. Following MicroStrategy's $500 million investment, they were also recently in the news. I don't have it in here because it was completely not necessary. I think the Bitcoin that they purchased is now worth like, I think 650 million or 700 million or some obscene thing like that. Because they bought in around 9,900 or something like that, Bitcoin's price. Square invested in Bitcoin, and PayPal launched a new cryptocurrency service. Now famous investor Bill Miller reportedly told CNBC on Friday, he said, and I quoteth, I think every major bank, every major investment bank, every major high net worth firm is going to eventually have some sort of exposure to Bitcoin or what's like it. That's not English. He named gold or some kind of commodities as alternative investments like Bitcoin, and then they talk about who he is or where he's from 20 years ago. Of course, I think they're already all in it. For those of you who were here in mid-2019, my prediction is that rich people would gobble up the market. They'd absorb as many Bitcoin as they possibly could. Banks would get into it. This was even before we heard like the huge thing about central bank digital currencies, because around June last year is when we heard that Libra was going to be launching, and that's when other banks were pretty much telling them, no, you cannot launch this, which is weird because they should have launched, but they were planning on launching in October this year. Kind of weird. The prediction that I had is that rich people would get into it. They'd buy up as much Bitcoin as they possibly could. And this is me, screaming in earnest during my videos, I can't tell people where to put their money, but me pretty much looking at you couldn't see me before, but being like, hey, you should maybe get into this as well, because clearly rich people are getting into it as well. And the other part would be that banks would also get into it as well. But the banking part was going to be a lot different, is because it's going to be banks that are going to be accumulating heavily, like more heavily than anyone can actually imagine. And that's that they're going to start offering cryptocurrency bank accounts, cryptocurrency custody solutions. And look at where we are right now. All the banks who've gotten into it, who are trying to get into it, who are offering all these services and stuff like that. The next step is going to be Bitcoin's price is going to skyrocket. This is the next step in my prediction. The other two parts have already come true. Bitcoin's price is going to skyrocket, and at that point, when it's too expensive for a normal person, air quotes, to actually get into the market, that's when banks will then start to tell their clients and their customers, hey, you should start putting your money into this as well. It's once only the very rich have become wealthy, the very rich have become super wealthy, that other people that they'll then tell everyone else, hey, this is something that you should be getting into. This is why I find all this news so spectacular. It's basically rich people going on news or TV shows to tell other rich people to get into it, but there's never any mention on like your local news. Like, when was the last time you heard on your local news that Bitcoin this year went from 3,000 to 16,000? Imagine what that would cause if your friends and family or your grandmothers or anybody else who's watching the late night news heard that something had gained $12,000 to its price. Everyone would want to get into that. So anyway, the point is, once Bitcoin is probably around 50,000 or 100,000, the news will start to leak into the normal news. But I think it's only when people who are maybe near retirement, or people who have no clue about finance at all, when they start going to their banks. You know how like when you go to your bank sometimes they offer you these things like, hey, do you want a new account with 2.0% APY, like all these little random things that you don't need. You're like, no, thank you. I'm fine. No, thank you. I'm good. Thank you. They're going to start offering these people, hey, do you want a Bitcoin account? We offer 5% per year. And that's when it really starts rolling. That's the next step. I assume it's going to happen by next year. If Mr. Stock to Flow is correct, it's gonna tumble out of control. And maybe that's even where that 288,000 Bitcoin price actually comes from. Let's move on. In popular news, I know I say that a lot, it's because it's all popular. In early September of this year, the market cap of Bitcoin was around 190 billion US dollars. In the past 2 months, Bitcoin's price has risen. And the market cap is around 280 billion US dollars at the moment. And because of that, Bitcoin is now more valuable than a huge amount of US companies. If Bitcoin's valuation is compared to publicly listed firms in the United States, it would match Bitcoin would be the 18th largest company in the United States. The 17th largest is Home Depot with a market cap of 306 billion, which is going to pass Bitcoin will pass in the next couple of weeks. Verizon is 242 billion, leaving a large gap in between. Since the market cap of Bitcoin is currently around 280 billion, it is larger than all of the companies in the US outside of the top 17. The text is so small. It is bigger than Home Depot, Verizon, PayPal, Adobe, Salesforce, Disney, Netflix, Coca-Cola, Bank of America, Thermo Fisher Scientific, Comcast. Why is the text so tiny? Jeez Louise. Merck and Abbott Laboratories. The point is, Bitcoin's worth a lot. A huge amount of money. And keep in mind as well, as Bitcoin's price continues to rise and like new coins are minted on the market, this also like helps it pump a lot higher, because I don't think that we actually need a $50,000 Bitcoin price to pass by a $1 trillion valuation anymore, which is also going to be something quite interesting as well. Anyway, yeah, Bitcoin is making people rich, and it's richer than most countries and companies and other foreign currencies as well. This is only, I mean, in 10 years, we're going to look back at these moments with complete, like, of course this was going to happen kind of thing. With the strength of Bitcoin, the amount of rich people who are getting into it, and the scarcity of Bitcoin, boy, oh boy, oh boy, this is going to be something for the books. Is this the same thing? Yep. It says Bitcoin worth more than PayPal, Netflix, and Bank of America. No one should logically be surprised. And this is why they've all, I mean, except for Netflix, at least now. I assume they'll be adding Bitcoin as a payment option in the next 3 years. This is why PayPal is offering Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is worth more than PayPal. And Bank of America, because we know that all the American banks are now legally able to get into crypto, so one can only assume that they're going to do the same as well. Next up, in late October, Ripple, the San Francisco-based fintech company, announced that it no longer wanted to be based in San Francisco. That's false. They said that they were thinking of moving outside of the U.S. because of lack of regulatory clarity. A regulatory quagmire around its cryptocurrency, ZERP pushed the $10 billion fintech company away from San Francisco. And it says to London, Singapore, somewhere in Switzerland or Japan. Ripple is yet to decide where they should just leave in general. I don't know why they're anyway. Ripple is yet to decide where to base its new headquarters, but the cryptocurrency firm today announced that it had set up a new headquarter in Dubai. Ripple will set up shop in this beautiful building. It's actually pretty cool if you look at it. Set up shop in a new Dubai International Financial Center, a towering block that Ripple must share with over 100 cafes, 3 hotels. There are hotels in there? How big is that building? And several art galleries. Nice. Yes, the news is that Ripple has opened up a new office in Dubai. By all means, do so. It doesn't make sense for them to keep trying to kiss the feet of regulators who don't really care about them at all. I assume at this point regulators are going to give top priority to banks and stuff like that, and people creating stablecoins. Another discussion, doesn't really matter. Yeah, but this isn't really surprising news. If you look at this article right here, this is from 3 years ago. It says Ripple embraced by UAE-based banks and cryptocurrency exchanges. We had news a while back, I think at the beginning or end of 2000, doesn't matter, 2018-esque time frame, that Ripple had partnered with every bank in India, and then they had partnered with a huge majority of the banks within the UAE, and they were doing tons of work in Dubai as well. So I think it was just a matter of time. I'm quite shocked that Ripple has stuck to their morals of trying to really maintain their exposure within the United States. I think Ripple and XRP would have flourished if they had moved to Japan. If they had set up shop within the United Kingdom, Dubai, and Japan, I think we'd have a completely different XRP price. But that's also just my perspective. I don't know the complete inner workings of everything. So I'm just going off of what I've been seeing. Anyway, that's all the Ripple news. And them getting a new office in Dubai, it just seems completely logical. Oh, here's the building again. Anyway, let's move on. And to finish things off, why am I screaming? Jeez. The past weekend when Bitcoin was breaking. So the news is that there are now 15,000 Bitcoin that have been wrapped inside of Tron. This is 5 times larger than last month. Cool. I assume this is only going to continue to rise. I do not assume that number is going to be slowing down anytime soon. The amount of... hold on. I have to see that in 1 second when we go into the other price thing. Oh, no. Sorry. It's the amount of wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum is like 122,000. And on Tron is 15,000. I, for some reason, thought that the ones on Ethereum were only like 12,000. And I was like, there are more Bitcoin locked in Tron than Ether? Okay, yeah, this makes a bit more sense. I think the last time we had this news last week was that there were only 8,000 wrapped Bitcoin, inside of Tron. Probably by next summer, if the trend continues, we're going to see over 100,000 Bitcoin locked inside of Tron. I think, assumption, other protocols are going to be doing the exact same thing. Nobody wants to be left out in any way. They're all mimicking DeFi platforms and programs and stuff like that as well. We will probably see Bitcoin spread across about 7 different blockchain platforms and coins, because I assume they're also trying to do the exact same thing with Chainlink and many other platforms, trying to have their own DeFi platforms on top of DeFi platforms and other stuff like that, just to lock up more Bitcoin. Cool. It's basically as if a rich person purchased another 15,000 Bitcoin, because I assume these won't be unwrapped anytime soon. I like to hear that Bitcoin becomes scarcer. It is good for the market. As always, I have my phone now. A very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbite University, Snacky Chan, Tolik Banan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila the Han, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Moonman, High XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Stroyo, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mohammed Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Knight Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll, Network Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Damian Setsuna, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nickman Gialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McButtface, Anytime Fitness, Mouse Corner Staff, Arf Medic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Machonisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola and Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you to everyone who is still here, who's supporting me during these trying times, and anyone who's just a loyal fan who's still watching the video. At the moment, gotta go back up. Bitcoin's price is at 15,417. There's the weekend dip. I knew we were gonna go back up. Just completely logical. I was gonna make a video yesterday, but I was really I was not in the mood. I was really worn out. I've been doing so many things, have so many projects that I have to continue working on. So I was like, I'll take a day off. And I was like, I know the price is going to go back up, and it looks like it's going to continue doing this as well. A lot of the altcoins, the stable coins, when we scroll back down, you'll see they've been really jumping back and forth because the weekend was crazy. Yeah, they're all following the exact same movements as Bitcoin. This is to be expected. Nothing too crazy. I saw that Aave was up a good amount of percent. Celsius is up by 7. $4 million trading volume. Sure, why not? Aave is up by 16%. Go for it. Live your life. Anything else really crazy? Dogecoin is up by... Dogecoin is spiking right now. It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy. Who's using Dogecoin? I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all have a great week, a great start to the week. Hope you all have a great day, great morning, great afternoon, or great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. see you.